since we've been boondocking for the past couple of days, we are stopping at a truck station to dump our tanks before we go to Louisiana. We did haul half of a fresh tank of water from Orlando up, and that was about 8 hours. I was a little nervous about carrying that much water. It's about 300 pounds, but we knew there was no water available at the boondocking where we were at that rec area in the Panhandle, so we carried the water. But now that we have access to a dump station, this TA truck stop has free dumping. We're going to dump our black and gray so that we can get going to Louisiana. You know, RV manufacturers generally do not recommend that you drive your RV with any liquid in the tanks, black or gray or fresh. And that's a safety precaution. You know, those tanks are made to hold water and waste while you're parked somewhere, not to be driving down the road with hundreds of pounds of liquid in there. But I don't, like, people do that all the time. They drive their RVs with full water tanks if they're going out boondocking or they're hauling water home to dump at home. I don't know how you could really avoid it, especially if you're boondocking. You've got to bring water in and take water out. So I haven't figured out all the little tricks of boondocking yet. But anyway, I feel good that we can dump this weight off of here and not have to carry it. Crossing the Mississippi River. We're going to be west of the Mississippi for a few months.
I remember we went across this for the first time.
2 years ago. We've done a lot of traveling since then. Here's the city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Fish in camp. Road Bridge, Louisiana. You get it?
Sure. Hi, Circuit Riders. We have made it to Lafayette, Louisiana. We're staying at a very cool campground called, we have no idea how to pronounce it, Poches, Pooches,
Poches. P-O-C-H-E.
RV Fishing Camp. So you can see all this water behind me. There are 51 acres of fishing ponds here at this RV camp. There's 5 different ponds. The RV sites and cabins are all around each pond.
Including some in between, like they've made RV spots that go through the ponds as well. It's kind of clever how they've done it. These are all stocked with fish, I understand. We see people fishing all the time from their RV back porch.
Yep, very cool idea. And so quiet here because, you know, fishermen are like all about the quiet. Don't disturb the fish.
Yeah, and we're a little bit in a shoulder season probably too.
It's the very beginning of February. Not very many people here, but the weather is beautiful. It's in the mid-60s. And if you're a fisherman, definitely check out this camp. So we have come down to Lafayette on purpose because we want to explore some Cajun culture. I'm sure you've heard of Cajun food. You know, the Cajun people are popular, you know, a lot of them in the New Orleans area. If you watched my video a couple of years ago now, when we were in northern Maine, we went to the Acadian festival there up in, I think it was in Maine that year.
Madawaska.
Yeah.
Has an annual little one.
And we were excited to learn about the Acadian history. Now, the Acadians are a group of people who originally settled in Nova Scotia, French people. They were driven out by the British in the 1700s. Some of them went back to the old country. Some of them moved into Maine and New England. But a group of them...
New Brunswick and Quebec as well.
But a group of them kept just moving south and south and south and being driven out and pushed away. And they ended up coming all the way down around Florida and settled in Louisiana in the New Orleans area. So you might not know that the Acadian people from the Maritimes of Canada and the word just kept getting kind of shortened and changed to Acadian, Cajun. Those people are the Cajuns who settled in Louisiana. So,
well, and I have Acadian roots, so that's part of what's just kind of interesting. By way of the St. John Valley on the northern Maine, New Brunswick border. I have a great-great-grandmother and her family that's from there, so that's kind of fun to follow along with as well.
So we were interested in the Cajun history, and there seems to be a lot of it concentrated here in the city of Lafayette. We had never been here before. So we came specifically for a Cajun food tour that we're going to do this weekend. And also there was something that we saw on a website for the Blue Moon Saloon called the Cajun Jam. and we thought it was going to be a concert. The Blue Moon seems to be the place to be if you want
Because
authentic
they have
Cajun
concerts
music.
there with ticket prices on
Yeah.
the weekends. And it seems like it's the local go-to place. It's got definitely has some local color and flavor.
But
As we found out, it was fun.
For the midweek Cajun Jam, we couldn't find any ticket prices. I called and they said, I don't think there's any charge, just come on down. And so we went down last night and we walked into a mostly empty bar, but with about 15 to 20 people sitting around in a circle with their instruments.
Well, we got there arguably on time, which was early.
Yeah. And then more people would wander in and kind of listen. By the end of the night, there was a couple of dozen people in there with us probably listening. So I thought, well, we'll get a little appetizer or something, some drinks while we're there. So when I walked in, I noticed that there was kind of a table set off to the side that had some potluck kind of food on it. Just one big crock pot and then like a thing of rice that the musicians were eating. So I thought, well, that's probably just for the musicians. I'll go buy something. So I walked up to the bar and I said to the bartender, do you have a menu? Do you sell food here or whatever? Or is it just drinks? And she said, well, there's some gravy over there. And I said, oh, is that for just anybody? And she said, yep. So we helped ourselves to some rice and gravy. Now, gravy in Cajun culture is basically like a stew, like a thick kind of gravy, but that has potatoes and maybe some boudin sausage in it.
And rice.
Some spices. Yeah. So we had a couple bowls of that.
Very simple,
delicious.
very delicious.
Yeah. So
it was just fun to see people and it looked like it was just so anyone could be part of what was going on. Just folks would grab a bowl, have something to eat while they're listening to music. The musicians would come and go and get a bowl of it as well. So it was just a really neat local experience.
It was such a special experience, and it was like the most authentic thing I think I've ever done while we've been RVing, just to be in a little local place with the local people who they just do this once a month. They get together, they play Cajun music. It was just so great.
Cajun Prairie, Bayou, Teche.
Bayou, Teche, Zydeco, Cajun Prairie.
I'm going to go the wrong way so you can get a good by the window.
Okay.
We've just discovered this scenic byway not too far from our RV park. It looks like there's two scenic byways here, the Bayou Teche Scenic Byway and the Zydeco Cajun Prairie Scenic Byway. This is Bayou Teche right here. It's a little river, but 4,000 years ago, it was the main path of the Mississippi River. And over the millennia, the silt and sediment in the river has redirected the path of the Mississippi to somewhere else. So I was reading online that it said about every 1,000 years, the path of the Mississippi shifts a little bit because of that sediment. So what is a bayou? You probably associate that with the southern United States, and it is a very southern word. The definition of it is a marshy outlet of a lake or river. So it's fresh water as opposed to salt water, but I think marshy is the key word here. It's kind of squishy and muddy and, you know, comes off of rivers and lakes here in the deep south. We always love to see the bayous because it's so unique to this area of the country. Now, the Bayou Teche river system is 125 miles long. We are almost at the very northern end of it here, and it flows south towards the Gulf of Mexico. So here's the headwaters of Bayou Teche. It's right over here off of this larger river. But the larger river is also a bayou. It's called Bayou Corte Bleue in the town of Port Barry. It's a little bit wider, you can see. Oh, that's fun. You know that we love to visit local grocery stores when we're in different parts of the country, especially in the South. They always have such interesting foods and flavors. So we are here on the lookout for some boudin sausage. It's a pork sausage that has peppers and spices in it. That's a very unique food to down here. And then we're also looking for king cake, but we want a mini king cake. The king cakes are so big, they're from Mardi Gras. Mardi Gras is in a couple of weeks, so there's lots of decorations around. We love king cake, but we don't want that many carbs. So hopefully we can find a little one. Taking advantage of this beautiful weather on a Friday afternoon to come down and check out the Acadian Cultural Center in Lafayette. This is part of the Jean Lafitte National Historical Park, which makes it a national park unit, which we're always interested in. They had a very nice interpretive museum in there about the Acadian people, and also a half-hour film that talked about the deportation from Nova Scotia. So the Acadian people were French people who settled in Nova Scotia in 1755. They were driven out by the British and kind of scattered all over. Eventually, many of them came down here and settled in Louisiana because Louisiana was controlled by the Spanish then, and the Spanish were friendly to them and invited them to come and establish farms and, have a safe haven here. So I think that's why they ended up here. We always love learning about Acadian culture. Just stopped at the local market for a snack because we're gonna
We called an audible. We called an audible.
We're gonna go home and eat dinner, but now we're gonna be out till the parade, so we needed to stop and get something, and we found crawfish Acadiana. Go ahead and open it.
It's always fun going to the smaller local grocery stores.
With Jimmy, we got some chips to go with it.
Maybe as a delivery system. Oh, yeah.
It smells good.
Nice.
The ranger at the Acadian Cultural Center told us about a local Mardi Gras parade that was happening. Apparently, there are several smaller neighborhood parades that happen in the week or two before Mardi Gras, so we were lucky to get to see this one. You're probably familiar with the concept of Mardi Gras parades, but you might not know that the parades are made up of crews. A crew is simply a club or organization that exists to celebrate carnival. Any group of people can start a crew. They usually have a shared affinity like gardening, animals, art, history, politics, you name it. A crew can be made up of a few people or hundreds. Members usually pay dues that are used for parade costumes and floats, as well as other events and balls that they hold throughout the year, which can be quite lavish for the larger crews. The theme of this smaller local parade was Into the Shadowverse. It was organized by the Crew de Cagnaye. This crew has a focus on sustainability, so there were no engines or plastic bead necklaces allowed. All of the floats were human-powered, and the throws, or handouts, were made of recyclable materials.
Going on a Cajun food tour with our friends who are down from South Dakota. They are traveling down to Florida, so they're meeting us here in Lafayette for one afternoon for a Cajun food tour. We're very excited. Can't wait.
World War II, the majority of the population here was not English speaking. Especially when it comes to, this is actually, for here in Lafayette, I have like employees at the top 3, top 5, but within Lafayette,
That's a nice kick.
this would be.
Let's go there.
Let me grab yours.
Of course, they're probably not open on Sabre.
So folks, as I mentioned, they decided to give away free food to any striking worker. And the whole thing became known as, well, here comes another po' boy, make him something to eat. So folks, here, our gumbo's coming out. This is going to be a chicken sausage gumbo. Very typical for this part of Louisiana.
Fried alligator, red beans, and rice
Where it
and
is,
andouille
next to
sausage.
Oh, are they?
Essentially a chicken nugget, just made it an alligator.
Excited to get another shot at some king cake. Here's our last stop on the food tour. This has been amazing. If you're interested in this kind of thing, I highly recommend food tours here in Lafayette.
North is good.
Alright, have a great day.
Thank you. And this right here was more than I
Wow, what an amazing visit to Lafayette, Louisiana we had. There was so much here to do, especially with Cajun culture, Acadian culture, and that's what we came here for. So we had a great time. We're so glad that we could meet our friends who came down from South Dakota on their way to Florida. This was a great place to meet up with them. So safe travels, Mike and Julie. And to the people that we met on the Cajun food tour, Eric and Amy, good luck in your RV journey, wherever it may take you. And we are headed now to a couple of days in Texas on our way to New Mexico. We'll see you there next time. Thanks for watching. Bye, guys.